Your attention is being murdered. In this very second, thousands of engineers in Silicon Valley are being paid millions of dollars to find new ways to make you close this video and waste your life in an infinite scroll. You are losing the war for your own mind. You feel it, don't you? That constant itch to check your phone, that fog in your brain when you try to do something meaningful, that hollow feeling at the end of a day where you did everything but achieved nothing. But centuries ago, in the mist-covered mountains of Kyoto, a group of warrior monks developed a level of focus so terrifying it made them immune to distraction, immune to pain, and even immune to the fear of death itself. They called it the Enlightenment of the Corpse. This isn't a productivity hack. It isn't a top 5 tips list. It is a psychological execution of the ego. If you stay into the very end of this video, you won't just understand why you can't concentrate today. I am going to give you the key to unlock the most powerful mental state a human being can reach. A state where time stops, where your surroundings vanish, and where your will becomes absolute. But be warned, once you see the world through the lens of the death meditation, nothing, absolutely nothing, will ever be the same again. The problem isn't that you are lazy. The problem is that your brain is designed for survival, not for success. In the wild, distraction was a virtue. If a bush rustled, you had to look. It could be a predator. Today, that rustling bush is an Instagram notification. Your brain receives the exact same shot of dopamine, the same evolutionary ping, but the result is your ruin. You are using a prehistoric operating system to navigate a digital minefield. The monks of the Tendai school understood this with brutal clarity. They knew that as long as you feel safe, your mind will always seek immediate pleasure. It will always choose the path of least resistance. To break this cycle, they didn't use discipline, they used terror. They created the Kanbun meditation, or as it's known in forbidden texts, the meditation of the descent into hell. Picture this. A monk sits on the edge of a 1,000-foot precipice. There are no safety nets. There is no turning back. He is ordered to visualize his own body rotting. He sees the maggots devouring his skin. He watches as his ambitions, his fears, and his deepest desires turn into dust until only the white, cold bone remains. Why would they do something so disturbing? Because when you truly accept that you are already dead, distraction loses its power. What does a text message matter to a corpse? What does social status matter to a skull? Nothing. This is the first open loop we are closing today. Focus is not built by adding willpower. Focus is built by subtracting the self. But before I show you how to apply this at your desk without moving to a mountain, you must understand the most extreme test of human endurance on the planet, the Kaiho-gyo. In the depths of Mount Hiei, these monks attempt the 1,000-day challenge. They must walk incredible distances every single day for 7 years. But here's the catch that makes it the scariest level of discipline. If they fail a single day, the rule is absolute. They must take their own life. They carry a white silk cord and a short knife at all times to remind them of this contract. Do you feel that tightening in your chest just hearing it? That is forced focus. When the consequence of distraction is literal death, your brain shuts down every open tab. The mental noise vanishes. The internal monologue about what you're having for dinner or what your ex is doing dies instantly. Only the next step remains. Only the next breath exists. You don't have a knife at your throat, and that is exactly why your 10-minute task takes you 3 hours. Your lack of urgency is your greatest weakness. Your comfort is your cage. But there is a way to hack this without physical danger. It's called the corpse's edge, and I will reveal how to trigger it in your own room in just a few minutes. Have you ever felt like you're working but your mind is miles away? The monks call this the monkey mind, a frantic animal jumping from branch to branch, screaming for attention. Most productivity gurus tell you to ignore the monkey. That is a fatal error. Suppressing the monkey only makes it more aggressive. It waits until you're tired, and then it strikes with a vengeance. The Japanese monks do something different. They take away the branches. This is the technique of Ichigyo-Zammai. It means one thing totally. It's not multitasking. It's not a Pomodoro timer. It is total absorption. If you are drinking water, only the water exists. If you are writing an email, the entire universe shrinks down to that single sentence. The walls of your room should disappear. The sounds of the street should fade into silence. But how do you achieve that when your phone vibrates every 30 seconds? When the world is designed to keep you in a state of fractured attention? The monks used incense, not for the smell, but for its finitude. They watched the incense burn, knowing that it would never return. It was a visual representation of their life disappearing. Every grain of ash that falls is a second you will never get back. It is gone forever. If you want the focus of a monk, you must stop treating your time as if it were infinite. Every time you open a YouTube tab when you're supposed to be working, you are burning your own flesh. You are committing a micro-suicide of your potential. I know this sounds extreme. I know it sounds dark, but we are talking about the scariest level of focus ever recorded. If you want mediocre results, follow the advice of mediocre people. If you want the focus of a master, you must be willing to look into the abyss. Here is the secret that no one tells you about discipline. Discipline is not strength. Discipline is the absence of options. When a monk is on day 700 of his walk, his feet bleeding and his bones aching, he doesn't ask himself if he feels like continuing. He doesn't have the option to quit. The option was deleted on day 1. You fail because you give yourself options. You give yourself the option to check your phone just for a second. You give yourself the option to start tomorrow. You give yourself the option to be weak. The system of death meditation forces you to burn the ships. Visualize this tomorrow morning. You have 24 hours to live, literally. A doctor has just confirmed it. You have one task left that will define your entire legacy. Would you check Twitter? Would you care what a stranger thinks of you? Would you feel tired? No, you would be a laser. That is the power of the Japanese memento mori. By bringing death into the present moment, you purify your focus. You strip away the bullshit. But wait, because now we get to the practical part, the part you can do today. It's called the Protocol of the 9 Minutes of Darkness. Before you start your hardest task of the day, the monks practice a form of zazen based on sensory deprivation. They lock themselves in a dark space. No light, no sound, no stimulation. Just them and the void. In those 9 minutes, your mind will go into a state of absolute panic. It will try to manufacture thoughts, it will remind you of old embarrassments, it will generate fake anxiety. This is the monkey starving to death. If you can sit there, without moving a single muscle, simply observing your thoughts trying to seduce you and letting them pass like clouds in a stormy sky, you have won the first battle. You have proven that you are the master, not the slave. When you emerge from those 9 minutes and sit down at your desk, your brain will see the work not as a burden, but as a relief. The focus becomes natural because you have cleared the mental static. But there is a danger, a trap that 99% of people fall into when they try to be disciplined. And this error is exactly why most people quit after 3 days. The error is trying to be a monk 24 hours a day. Even the masters know that a bow that is always tense will eventually break. The key is not to be focused always. The key is to be able to summon a lethal, terrifying focus exactly when it is needed. The samurai called this zanshin, a state of relaxed alertness. You are calm, you are still, but if a fly moves across the room, you know exactly where it is without looking. To reach zanshin, you need gate rituals. An entry ritual can be as simple as adjusting your clothing, cleaning your desk with obsessive precision for 60 seconds, or breathing in the 4-4-8 pattern that warriors use to lower their heart rate before a duel. You are programming your brain. You are telling it, the civilized world is dead. Now we enter the territory of the corpse. Now we execute. And here is where we close the circle. The death meditation isn't about being sad or depressed. It is about radical freedom. When you stop being afraid of losing time because you have already accepted that your time is limited, you stop being a slave to your impulses. You become the architect of your reality. Imagine what you could achieve in just 6 months if you could summon this level of focus for just 2 hours a day. You would be unrecognizable. You would outpace your competition, your friends, and your former self in a matter of weeks. You would achieve in a month what others achieve in a year. Most people watching this video will close the tab and forget everything I've said within 5 minutes. They will go back to the cycle of cheap dopamine. They will go back to being pawns in someone else's game, building someone else's dream. But you are not most people. If you have made it this far, it's because there is a spark of that warrior monk inside you. You feel the call of the abyss. Tomorrow, when you wake up, don't reach for your phone. Reach for your mortality. Remember that this day is a gift that is currently on fire. It is burning away as we speak. Sit down, breathe, visualize the end, and then work as if it were the last thing you will ever do on this earth. Because the most terrifying truth of all is not that you will die. It is reaching the end of your life and realizing that you were never truly present, that you were too distracted to actually live. Don't let that be your story. Master your focus, master your life. If this level of discipline seems extreme to you, it's because it is. But greatness is never found in comfort. It is found in the places that others are too afraid to look. Subscribe if you are ready to stop being a victim of the algorithm and start being the master of your destiny. Leave a comment with the word zanshin if you made it to the end, so I know who the real warriors are. I will see you in the abyss or at the top. You decide. Until next time.